was working as a delivery driver a while back. And I have this crazy story to tell. There was this old lady living in the middle of nowhere, just out in the country with fields and hills all around. Her place was kind of just an old shack. It had a sheet metal roof and looked like it had been there 100 years. Maybe she lived there all her life. Maybe she grew up there. I don't know. I can't think of any reason someone would want to live in a rundown old rotting shack in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, I made a lot of deliveries to that old gal. She ordered the weirdest things. Stuff I can't imagine an old lady needing. For starters, there was the 50 gallons of ice cream over a month, and a side of beef every 2 weeks, along with dozens of assorted steaks. There's no way she could possibly eat it all. What's she doing with it? Oh, and she ordered a Geiger counter. Why would an old lady need a Geiger counter? What is going on there? I admit, I shouldn't have been snooping around the company's files. But I just had to know what all these packages were. The old lady has me curious. Where is she even storing all this stuff? Her little shack is basically a single room. It's the size of the shed I keep my lawnmower in. I wonder if she even has room to sleep. Today, I got my answer. It was a very busy day, dropping off packages all over town. By the time I was finishing my shift, I realized I still had a package in the back that I had overlooked. It's a long drive out to her place, and it was late evening by the time I got there. The place was dark, no lights anywhere. It seemed empty and deserted. I knocked on the door, and as usual, she immediately opened it as if she had been waiting the whole time. The shack was completely dark inside. How she even found the door, I don't know. As usual, there was no expression at all on her face. She seemed almost robotic. Her eyes. There was something weird about her eyes. I'm not sure exactly. She took the package, said, "Thank you," in a monotone voice, and I got back in my delivery van to head out. It was getting dark by then, and I was curious. Normally she orders lots of things at once, but this time it was only one small package. That's why I had overlooked it. I pulled over a short distance down the road and called my friend who works in the office. He was already home for the day, but I knew we could access the office files remotely. I asked him what the old lady had ordered. He checked and told me it was a black tourmaline crystal from South America. Neither of us knew what that was. Some fancy rock, I guess. That's about when it happened. It started with the radio. I always listened to the radio while driving. It was on and started acting weird, playing loud static and popping sounds, and jumping between channels. Then it abruptly stopped, and the whole van shut down. I tried to start it back up, but the battery was dead. I popped the hood and got out. I tried my cell phone, and it was somehow dead too. I could see the old lady's shack a short distance away. She must have a phone or computer. Somehow she's ordering all this stuff. I thought about walking over and asking her for help. But then I saw her. She came outside with a package and began stacking packages on the ground outside the shack, and things started to make sense. Maybe someone was coming to pick up those packages. That would explain where she's keeping it all. Anyway, maybe whoever it is could help jumpstart my van. She didn't notice me walking down the road towards her shack. The moon wasn't full, but seemed to be getting brighter outside. A star I hadn't noticed above the shack seemed to be getting brighter, maybe bigger too. I stopped to watch it for a moment. Then I realized it wasn't getting brighter or bigger. It was getting closer. I could only stand and stare as this thing, that clearly was not a star, came to hover above the shack. Everything was lit up bright as day. The old lady stood outside, looking up at the blinding light, and I saw something I hadn't seen before. She actually had an expression on her face for once. She was smiling. A beam of light shot down from the object and lit up the packages. They all began floating gently up into the glowing thing and vanished. I couldn't do anything but stand there dumbfounded. It was all so surreal. I felt like it must all be a dream. The old lady startled me out of it when she turned to look directly at me. She waved and then vanished in a beam of light along with the entire shack. Nothing was left but an empty field as the glowing thing vanished too. The sudden darkness around me left me anxious to get out of there. I heard the sound of an engine and noticed my headlights were on. The van had somehow started back up on its own after what just happened. I wasn't about to question it. I got in and drove straight home. The next day I went to work as if it were just a normal day. I didn't plan on telling anyone anything about the night before. Someone stopped me inside and handed me an envelope addressed to me. It was from the old lady. I opened it to find a handwritten letter. The letter read, "Over these past few months, you and your company have helped to supply our family with many of the things we will need for our long journey home. We thank you, and it has been a pleasure doing business with you." I folded it up and put it in my pocket. I think now I'm ready for some vacation time.